Today we have a very special guest, and I'm going to let one of our own, Josh Barnes, introduce our guest speaker.
Oh wow, I'm getting introduced. Wow, that's awesome.
This is a man that I'm very proud to introduce. He's a retired Navy captain, 26 years. He's done a significant amount of work with the USO as well as the National Cartoonist Society.
Yes, sir.
More importantly, he's creator of Wyakin, and I think it's a man we all know and at least 50% of us love.
That's an improvement over last year. We do surveys every semester, and that's up. That's up from last time, so that's good.
Most goes after class, I'll go eat it.
That's right. That's true.
They just said it was bacon. I thought it was food.
That's how you get the crowds.
Not what I signed up.
Well, I see we're off to a serious start tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for having me here. This is the first time I've ever done a professional development seminar, so it's an honor for me. I was telling my wife, I do actually do a lot of speaking engagements, and this is the first time I've been nervous in quite a while. And I think it's because this is something that's near and dear to all of our hearts, and I think it's time we've matured enough as an organization that we talk a little bit more in depth about the topic of this is what is a Wyakin Warrior. And I'm going to speak really from the heart on this. I was telling the guys a few minutes ago that there is no template for this speech, and no, I don't have any old speeches to dig out, and I'm used to having cartoons up here take all the attention away from me, but this isn't a cartoon speech, so now I'm really in trouble. But it's important, and so what I'm going to talk to you about tonight is what is a Wyakin Warrior. And I'd like to throw it out to the crowd. Before we talk about the Wyakin Warriors, what do you suppose the Wyakin Warrior Foundation is? If you're going to define the Wyakin Warrior Foundation, how would you define that? And anybody can just speak out on this. It's prestige. What about the foundation itself? If you're going to describe the organization, what does it do? What is it all about?
Helping out wounded vets.
Helping out wounded vets. Prestige is also, we're going to touch on that in a minute.
Transitioning.
It's all about transitioning.
Being a crutch. When needed.
Well, that's probably not the term I would use, but this is our mission statement. Those of you who were here from the very beginning saw a mission statement that was about, 15 lines long. It was huge, and it covered everything. This is our current mission statement. There's a working group that's looking at the mission statement again to make it even better. But in general, what we're trying to do, and I'll read it to those who can't read it, we're enabling severely wounded and injured veterans to achieve personal and professional success as business and community leaders. There's a few key words in there that we're going to talk a lot about tonight. Community leaders. You don't hear much about that. We talk about business leaders, we talk about business success and getting hired and all that. Community leaders is as important to us as it is having a successful career. Another key word in there is enabling. We are helping you who have served our country. We are there to to lend a hand to help you get to where you want to go. It's not an organization that just gives you everything. We're here to help you get where you want to go. I believe that everybody will perform to the level of expectation. If you expect to do well, you will do well. If others expect you to do well, you will do well. I do not believe in treating veterans as kids, as children. I treat you as men and women and as cohorts, as brothers and sisters in arms. And I expect, and you guys know this, I expect you to be the leaders in your communities in different capacities. It doesn't mean you have to be governor, but you're already building some great leadership skills, and I look forward to seeing where you're going to go. And now this is Jeff Bacon talking here. No, this is not a mission statement. This is just what Jeff Bacon thinks, what we really are. Volunteers and staff working together to assist you as you pursue your goals. Nothing fancy. Nothing irritates me as a former federal employee, as much as an organization that is dedicated to its own survival and its own prosperity. There is no such thing in the Wyakin Warrior Foundation as doing something for the good of the foundation. I don't really care if the foundation is here or not. What I care about is that you are what you want to be. That's what it's all about. We're just a bunch of the people in the room here that are here with you, and those who aren't in the room that are routinely working with you, they are just volunteers and staff that are here to assist you get to where you want to go. Now, what does it mean to be a Wyakin Warrior? This has got a time scale on it. In 2011, August of 2011, we inducted our first 5 Wyakin Warriors. In July of 2011, there was no such thing as a Wyakin Warrior. So, in 2011, what does it mean to be a Wyakin Warrior? Nothing. It meant nothing. Nobody had a clue what a Wyakin Warrior was, let alone what Wyakin stood for, let alone that we were at Boise State and CWI or any of that other stuff. Nobody knew. Now we're in 2013. So let me ask you, what does it mean to be a Wyakin Warrior? When somebody says you're a Wyakin Warrior, what does that mean to you? What does that mean when they call you a Wyakin Warrior? What are your qualities?
Commitment.
You committed? Yes, sir. Well, come on, man. You guys were talking all over the place a few minutes ago.
Honor.
Okay. Here's what I think. This is my impression of what the community's perspective, those who know what the Wyakin Warriors are now, it's a growing group of people. This is what the community thinks you are. Veterans achieving individual success, veterans overcoming personal challenges, and great potential as employees. You're potential employees. That's about where you sit in the community's mind right now. In a more general sense, I think there's a little bit of a wait and see. What is a Wyakin Warrior? We've had 1 graduate so far, 2 graduates, but one's back in graduate school. But we have 1 in the workforce right now. You talk to Alexander Crown's boss, he could not say enough great things about Alexander Crown. He told us, if you ever need Alexander Crown to go travel or do whatever and talk to other veterans, I will let him go as his boss. I mean, that to me is where you start to build your reputation. Now, I'm going to talk about 2015. That's 2 years from now. We will have doubled in age from where we are now. 2015, this is where, and this is why we're talking tonight. This is where I think we're going to go. First of all of the above, except for the nothing part. You are veterans who have achieved individual successes. You have overcome challenges. But in addition to that, I believe what you're going to start to be known for is strong character. You're going to be role models, members of an exclusive group. You have a strong service ethos. Ethos is, I don't even know what that word means, but I use it all the time. But you have a strong service bent. You want to serve. And I think what's going to happen down the road is these employers are going to say, that's a Wyakin Warrior, we have got to get that guy. That's what you want. That is what you are all working together toward. That's what we're all working together toward, is that very bottom line, which is we have got to hire this guy. Everything we do, what we're trying to do is to tilt the playing field in your favor. And when you go into an interview, we want it to be unfair. We want the other potential employers to go, well, that's not fair. The guy's a Wyakin Warrior. I mean, that's not fair. You know, I don't have a chance. I want them to think that. I want that to be true. I want you to be known. When you walk in that room as a Wyakin Warrior, that employer knows what they're getting. So that is what we're talking about tonight. And by the way, this is not going to take an hour, so. All right, I'm going to very briefly talk about the 6 tenets. The 6 tenets. A little bit of background on the 6 tenets. In 2009, those of you who have seen the video probably know this already. 2009, I was talking with Archie Clemens, Admiral Archie Clemens. And Archie Clemens said, what are you doing besides draw cartoons for the veterans? What else are you doing? And I wasn't doing anything for the veterans. So I went up hiking on a mountain called Moore's Mountain. And during that hike, my wife and I were talking about the discussion, And she said, well, what do you think veterans need? All I had to go back on was being a veteran and all of these cartoon trips I've gone out with the USO. And in all those cartoon trips, there are young men and women who have had some horrible injuries, and they all were the same. They wanted to continue to contribute. Most of them are going to go home, and almost all of them are going to go to school. I mean, almost everybody said that. So I started thinking about, okay, if I were a 23-year-old Marine that had a severe injury, I had a high school diploma. All the things I was trained to do, I couldn't do anymore. All the things I wanted to do, I couldn't do anymore. So I'm going to go home, have all my family and friends around. I'm going to get a little bit of a stipend, and I don't have a clue what I want to do. I don't know how to apply to school. I don't know how to apply for a job. You know, I don't know any of that stuff because I haven't been trained to do it. So we took that premise and we said, okay, as we walk this 3-mile walk around Moores Mountain, what would I need? And we had a big discussion. And by the time we came down from Moores Mountain, there's these 6 tenets. And the 6 tenets have not changed since we started the program. One thing is, you know, at the Voc Rehab, GI Bill, you get paid, but you don't get paid all the time. Our assumption is, I'm married, or I've got financial situations or whatever, and somebody takes away my $933 a month for 3 months or 1 month or whatever, that could be devastating to me. And what am I supposed to move out of the dorms and move in with mom and dad? Well, maybe I can't move in with mom and dad. That was, I think, the model the GI Bill was built on. So the idea was to give you continuous living expenses. That was the idea. Professional development, we've talked about professional development, to smooth you out, to give you the tools, to give you an advantage when you're in a job market. The service project, those of you who know the tenants have seen it before, you'll see that the service project has moved up to number 3 on the list. Service project is becoming more and more important to me, and I think something that will become more and more prevalent now that Scott Tagg is on board. And Dave Meyer had already started this. So the service project is going to be a give back. It's a pay it forward. The idea is to start that journey toward being a community leader. And the service project is going to be something, when you start to build that reputation as Wyakin Warriors, that's one of the things you're going to be known for out in the community. People have never heard of a veteran or the Army or anything like that. They've all heard of the Navy. But they're going to know the Wyakin Warriors by your service projects in many cases. And it could be something helping kids with cancer. I mean, it could be cooperating with another nonprofit organization to help some other group. That's okay. But what you're going to be known for, it's kind of like the Boy Scouts. You know, they do the Eagle Scout projects. You guys are going to be known for the grown-up version of that. You're going to be known for your community projects out in that community. Networking, that's something that I knew that I didn't even know what that was when we talked about it, but I knew that we needed it. And we're learning what that's all about. And those who have listened to Steve Fagerquist know networking is a big part of what we do as far as working to get that job market opened up to you. And we're getting better at it. And finally, Wyakin Warrior for Life. And this is something that we haven't talked a whole lot about. But this is something that is very, very important. How many have worked with their AW2 reps? Okay, how many guys have worked with Navy Safe Harbor? My point, thank you, Bobby, you made my point. Air Force Wounded Warrior Program. Marine Corps Wounded Warrior Regiment. How many Marines do we have in the room? 3. Okay, so the point is, you guys just proved my point. I worked in the Pentagon just before I retired. The Pentagon runs by PowerPoint briefs. When we first started this, and we went up to the Pentagon, we briefed some very high-level people about this program. I had conversations with other 06s about their programs. And they all said, oh yeah, this is what we provide we follow every one of these guys for life. When they go to the community, we follow them to the community, we get them a mentor, we make sure that they're taken care of, we have this old network all set up. The only service that actually has followed through on that is the Army. And that's because you've got Robin Rieger, who is my personal hero around here, who does things the right way. The Navy, God bless my Navy, they have arguably the worst wounded warrior program in the country. And I would say go Army. You said go Army. I remember talking to the commanding officer of this Navy Safe Harbor was in '06. And I remember talking to him as I was kind of going down this journey doing some fact finding. And I told him, I said, well, these guys are coming in the communities and there is no Navy Safe Harbor. And he's in a conference call. He's in '06 in uniform. And his answer to me was, eh. Yeah, very, very mature. He said, no, this is what we do. We follow these guys for life. And I said, oh, really? So what happens if you haven't heard from them for about a year or two? Well, a lot of these guys, they start to get out there and they get on with their lives. Okay, so you don't follow them for the rest of their life. So it was a lie. And in the Pentagon, when you do a Pentagon brief, it's truth. I mean, you can solve the world's problems in a PowerPoint brief. But reality is a different thing. So when we built this program, something that's very important, when I say Wyakin Warrior for life, and the staff knows this, that means something. When you get accepted into this program, we are not giving up on you. There are guys in this room, people who aren't in this room, who have had some real challenges. We are not going to give up on you. We're going to try to figure out a way to get you past these challenges and move on with life. But we do not give up. You can quit. It's like Remember the Titans. Anybody seen that movie, Remember the Titans? I'm not going to kick you off the football team. You can quit, but you're not going to get kicked off unless you do something pretty egregious. And what Scott is going to start working on as we get more and more graduates is we are going to be proactive in finding you. When you leave here, the problem a lot of times with these programs is they receive. So they're sitting in an office somewhere in DC or somewhere else, and they expect if there's a problem, they'll hear from their veteran. Well, that never happens. I mean, I'm a veteran too. I'm not going to call some guy in DC I've never met and say I got a problem. That's not going to happen. Yeah, wait 6 weeks. If you even talk to a human, right? So, well, our program will be a formalized follow-up program. So after you leave here, with your certification, your license, your degree, or whatever, you are going to get called by us. You're going to be contacted by us. We're going to find you. Hopefully